Okay.
George McDermott, 2017 Mother's Day. We're down here on Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C.
Closer.
We're down here on Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. with Paul Cummings, who I interviewed a couple of weeks or about a month ago on a family rights demonstration in front of the Capitol. And I'm trying to find out just if you could give us an update of what's happened to yourself and your family in the last 45 days. I know that the last time I saw you, we had went to the offices of the U.S. House, the Senate, to the FBI offices, to the Canadian Embassy's offices, to the Justice Department, and they all snub their noses at you when you're trying to save your 10 children who have been kidnapped by the Canadian authorities. Could you give us an update of what's happened since the last time I saw you?
Yeah, that was back in April. I went ahead, continued on from here, drove all the way to the state of Washington, which is the nearest border crossing for where my children are at. By international law, Canadian agreements with the United States agreements with Canada, that's where my children should have been deported back to the United States at, through that border. My representatives knew I was going to be there. We talked about it, that me being there, and the purpose of me being there. My wife and I showed up at the border. Everybody went quiet. Nobody responded to emails, nobody responded to phone calls, and we sat there and waited for hours. One Border Patrol officer did call Canada. They admit that they still do have my children. They refused to give him any specific information as to when my children were going to be deported. And no one is telling us anything about the deportation, only that they're in the process. International law dictates that that process should be no more than a matter of a couple of days due to the relationship between the United States and Canada. It's a friendly relationship. Neither country is in a war zone. It should have been done already. September 15th was the last time I saw my children, last time I heard my children, last time anything. I have no further contact from that date.
How many children are we talking about here?
It's 10 children. I don't have my sign with me right here. It's down by my car. If you see me on Facebook, you can see pictures of my children. But I'm here. Also, I'll try to reestablish contact with my reps and find out, do I have representation or not? Do my children have representation or not? Is it just going to be international trafficking of children? Is it okay for the United States to rape and sodomize children? Is it okay for the United States to torture American children? Are they extending that right to foreign countries now? Or foreign countries have the right to rape American children, to sodomize American children, to torture American children? It used to be an act of war to take citizens from another country hostage like this. And coming from Canada, it just blows my mind that Canada would do something like this. But then they have their own reputation with treating their children bad. I'm done. But I am here to go ahead and make contact with our representatives again, and hopefully they will be more receptive and they will do what they're supposed to do, which is look after our interest, to make sure that the basics of life, liberty, and happiness are taken care of. These are fundamental rights, God-given rights. They're unalienable rights. And it seems like those rights are handed out to certain people who have more entitlement than everyday Joes. Well, now of course I'll be here till my last breath, and I'll have I'll be here till it's done, one way or the other.
Well, Paul, I'm glad that you are keeping up the fight for your children. It's very important that we defend the rights of our innocent children. And this goes on across the nation. Child trafficking is out of control in the United States of America. The TV is finally, in Washington, D.C., they're finally picking up on this child trafficking and missing children. They're starting to delve into that a little bit more, but the numbers are so horrific, it's unbelievable. There's something like 95 million child sex slaves in the world, from what I understand. And nobody seems to be giving two hoots about what's happening, and your family is absolutely in our prayers and our thoughts all the time. But